class will be online because we have got people, faculty and who are joining us from other places. So we have here, sorry. Hey, the doctor is not yet conferred, so let me just write Zelda. Zelda, do you use the Aqua or you use the Boateng?
Please, I use Aqua.
Okay, then. And the email address is?
zaku@umat.edu.gh.
Okay. Good. So I have here Dr. Bano, Dr. Soon to be Dr. Dr. Boateng, Zelda Boateng, but my name is Dr. Aku. It's Aku, okay. And then Zelda, Jonathan, and then myself will be taking you through both the MBA and then the weekend classes. So our objective here is to introduce you to theoretical concepts in information system and then teach you how to turn them into apply them in information system research, like tell it to a questionnaire, collect data and analyze the data. So that's what we'll be doing. Basically, sorry, Zelda and me, introduce yourself to the class. But there's a text for the class. I'll put it. It's free. The University of Ghana produced it, so we'll give it to you free. But for my research made easy book, you can buy it from the bookshop at Legon Bookshop. That's all. But introduce yourself, Zelda. Introduce yourself now.
So good morning, class. My name is Nibano Jonathan, and I was in your shoes some 13 years ago. Today I'm still here with you. I did MIS, MPhil information systems, and proceeded to do my PhD in the same department. And I currently Prof, so is the Prof. Hello.
Hello.
Yes.
Yeah, we can't hear you though.
Okay.
Okay, Doc, thank you. So, good morning, class. My name is Zelda Aku, and I also completed my MPhil in MIS in 2018, and then my PhD in information systems. I'm about to complete my PhD in information systems. And I also work with Prof. Boateng, and then I'm also at the University of Mines and Technology as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Doug, in making.
Thank you very much, class, for your introductions. So what we'll be doing is that we'll look at what research frameworks are and theories are, but we'll delve straight into practical sessions where both myself, Dr. Mano, and Dr. Zelda too will be. Zelda, you are submitting in January. You have finished your work, so you just let your defense. So let's stop saying that you pass your work. So don't worry. Anyway. So we'll be taking you to different theories that we have used for our MBA and our MPhil work. And both of them did their MPhil and their masters in the department and their PhDs too in the department. So they will show you how they applied it. The most important thing for every student is that you need to understand your research area. You need to be able to understand the appropriate theory, turn the theory into a questionnaire, go and collect data and analyze. So this is a simple thing we want to teach you throughout. Okay, so Isaac, some of you are the lecture. Okay, so can you hear me clearly there?
Yes, please, we can hear you.
Good. But we'll be recording the session. That's one of the reasons why we are teaching online, so that you can have it for your keeps and prepare yourself for your long essays. Good.
Yes, please.
So we'll take you through a number of the theories, and then, but when we do get to the presentations time, when you are doing presentations, at the end we'll be meeting in person. So take note of that. I'll meet you in person when you are doing the presentation, but for now we'll do the teaching, most of it online. So we'll take you to the theories, then after that we'll flip to the methods. But the way me and MBA your hand is up, I'm coming. the way me and Zelda and I will take it is that when we are teaching you the theories, we will also tell you how to turn it to a questionnaire. So you are introducing the method to you at the same time. And then for the MPhils, I'll be meeting you on Fridays on research design and research qualitative techniques. So that one I will end up explaining what research is to you. And for the MBAs, they have done what is research already last semester with Dr. Ofoya Manfo and Dr. Onyasari and other lecturers. And some of them even know my research made easy book, which is the Legon Bookshop. You can get a copy for yourself. It's very good. I'll also show you the class website online on YouTube. Let me quickly do that one. So when you go to YouTube, you search for Arab Watson, Richard Watson Studios, it will come straight. To give you all my courses that are there. So you see there's a whole list of recent media. There's a video to go alongside the book. If you have never done research before, take your time and watch all the videos. You become a maestro. Like, why do we do research? Selecting a topic, everything is there. But for your course, I'll create one for this semester. But last semester, I can tell you some method information. So look at for that from 2021 group. So you can watch any of them for you to be learning. You can watch any of them for you to learn. The best thing I would just say is that if you go to Watching Studios on this time, you get your content. So it's okay, good. So you see that the previous years we have recorded the sessions already. Some of them are MBA sessions, some of them are then these are 2022 theories. So you see that one too is there. Then I think there's a 2020. Let me go to the playlist itself.
Prof, please, is it me or we can't see your screen?
Oh, sorry. Oh, sorry. I have my screen. What was I showing them? Sorry, forgive me. So I did Richard Watson Studios here. MBA, please. Richard Watson. If you type Richard Watson alone, it will take you to. I have to Richard Watson research methods. It will take you to the one the university opened for us. That's about 10 years ago. Nibano and I worked with the university to do that for the whole university. But that one is not tied to our class. So if you want to get one for go to Richard Watson Studios like this, you enter here, you can get, there's always content there because I'm always teaching. Everything I teach, I put it here. So you can get to know other classes I'm teaching. When you come to the playlist, you can see that you are OMIS theorists. This is a 2024 class. I think we recorded some of the sessions as there. Good. So you can see 2024. The last year. Their classes here. There's part 1, part 2, and other things. So good morning, class. Last week I been there, so you have it there. Then there is even the first class. This one. Good. So take you through. Please take your time and immerse yourself in some of the content. It's very, very relevant to you. Because at the end of the day, some of your mates ask questions which you may not ask. And sometimes, depending on the class, we may learn different things. Sorry, let me just open the class website and put a link there so that the class WhatsApp page, so that students can have the link and then look at it later. Okay, so that I've done that one. Okay. MBA, please, your hand was up. I wanted to, Albert, your hand is also up. If I'm talking and your hand is up, you can type your answer, your question in the chat.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Yes, please. The MBA class, didn't know the class was online. We just finished our class. So the MPhil students told us that the link has been shared. So we just joined. We have joined as a group in the classroom that we just did the class.
Don't worry, that's no problem.
Okay,
we usually have it in OE when we meet, so can join them and listen.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
How can the MBA say that they didn't know the class was online? One of them contacted me and I told the person earlier.
So I think it's an MPhil student that contacted you.
Oh, okay, then I'm forgive me. Isaac Yami is an MPhil student.
Yes, please.
Yes, doc.
When you introduce yourself, you look like an MBA student too. Sorry, forgive me. And I said your name as an MBA student. Sorry. Sorry about that. Okay, so today I'll do some small introduction and then Prof. Dr. Bano will take us through one of the theories. So from day one, we are getting to learn about theories. Don't be surprised about that. That's how I do my stuff. Okay. So let me, for the benefit of those who are now joining, let me just, hold on. Let me just try and take you through a few things in the background of research. Am I sharing the screen?
No, please. Okay, it's not coming.
It's not coming. Okay, good. So this book is what I wanted to mention. It's a free book. I'll put it online. The university made me work on it some time ago. So I developed it for the class. So I've dropped the book, which is a free book, in the WhatsApp group. So just give me a second. It's loading. So within about 5 or 10, it's just about theories. Some of the common theories that there are new theories that have come up, but some of the common theories that you come across, we have put them together to help students understand what theories are. So you see, everything is being given to you. We are giving you video, we are giving you this. If you come and tell us the whole show, you don't understand something, then it means that you have not started reading. When you start reading, you'll be able to understand. So I've shared the book with you. You can take your time and look at it. Good. But apart from that, you can also get the research medicine from the bookshop, and then get a copy for yourself. Well, it talks about how to carry out research. There's a whole chapter on theories, so that one will be helpful to you. I'm not saying that it's better than this one, but that one is a research book for research. This one just on theories. So let's not confuse the two. Okay. Now, this is the research medicine book. It's also in the bookshop. You can get a copy for us. So the fourth edition is very good. The fifth edition is not coming out. Don't go there asking for the fifth edition. Some of you are interested. I just talked about the fifth edition. Everybody said that they want the fifth edition, so they wanted to. But last week, the bookshop was surprised. Everybody can ask for it. I said, I just mentioned there's a fifth edition coming, but it's not yet ready. Some people have seen it, but not everybody has seen it. Yeah. So defining the research framework. Now, what is research? Research is an investigation into a particular topic or social and business phenomenon. And when we do research, our objective is to try and find an organized and systematic way of finding answers to questions. Systematic means that every researcher belongs to a scientific group, so you belong to the IS group. And at the IS, we have defined what is acceptable and reliable research within the IS community. So if you do research within the IS community, you have to follow the IS principles so that we can say that research is accepted within the IS field. If you do research as an MBA, you are following the IS principle. You're also following what the MBA is required. For example, you are supposed to contribute to policy and practice more in the MBA. MPhil, you are supposed to contribute to theory more, and then policy and practice second. So if you look at it, the MBAs are contributing to practice more. They also contribute to research, but the practice is more important, but they are going back to the world to apply it. While the MPhil are doing to do research, further research. Both of them are necessary, but just trying to just tell you the orientations. Organized, because every researcher follows a method, an organized method. You develop you have a topic, you collect research on the topic, you develop your questionnaire, then you develop your research questions, and you define your research framework to your literature review. Then you go ahead and do the rest in terms of collecting data and analyzing the data. So that's the kind of a method that you follow. Now, every researcher has a focus. I need an answer to a research question. So no matter what it is, the research questions is what direct the study. That tells you what you can ask and what you cannot ask. So we say that the centrality of every research is the question that the person is asking. What will be different from Isaac research and Alex research is that we can all be doing mobile money. Alex can ask about gender issues in mobile money, but Isaac can ask about mobile money threats and security threats. So those are two different perspectives. Zelda can come in and say that you're doing a research on mobile money, but looking from the gender perspective, how it empowers women or markets women. Then, and Dr. Nitu can come and say that he wants to study what does mobile money mean to people? What's the social significance of mobile money? So all of us are doing mobile money studies, but we are asking different questions. So the whole class can do a similar topic, but our questions can be different. So the centrality of every research is the question that you are asking. In order to be able to address our research questions, we need to postulate what variables we want to study. For example, if I want the area of a rectangle, I need variables like length and breadth. So to be able to get the area of a rectangle. In the same way, for every research that you are going to carry out, most often for master's research, you need a framework to guide you. The framework that you choose to guide you will tell you the variables you should look into in order to explain the phenomenon or describe the phenomenon or what? Describe, explain, and then sometimes even predict and then sometimes explore the phenomenon. So that framework tells you the relationship between the variables. Length times breadth needs a multiplication sign between them, length and then times breadth. When I put them together, I create a logic of finding the area of a rectangle. Half base times height will give me the area of a triangle. So all of these means that there are a relationship that come together to be able to define something. So the framework is what frames the research that you are going to carry out. Examples will be are the ones I just give you right now. But where does the framework come into? The framework comes into your research work at the literature review stage for the MBA students. An MBA student, your research framework will be, or your theory will be explained or discussed as part of the literature review. Now, we call it a research framework because it frames the research. Within the research framework, you can have a theory. The theory is the theorization behind the framework. So theories have been postulated a long time ago, like the theory of planned behavior talks about why people act in a particular behavior in a particular way. The theory of reason action tells why people take particular actions. The technology acceptance model tells you what influences people to choose a particular technology. The theory of let's say the theory in economics that looks at elasticity tells you something about the economy and how an elastic economy could be. Then the supply chain theory, the supply, and then there's another one. I've forgotten. That's economics. Let me leave economics. I'm not an economics student anymore. But what I'm trying to point out is that there are several theories. Even there's the choice about grieving, the 5 stages of grief that people go through when they have they go through a loss. So there are so many theories. When you pick a theory, you use it for your research work, it becomes the framework for your research. So every framework of research needs a theory in it. That's what we are trying to see. We call it a research framework because it's framing the research, but it is underpinned by a theory. For example, today, Dr. Bana will take us through the MOA theory, which is the motivation, opportunity, and ability theory. That tells us that how people make choices and how they can be motivated by it, the opportunities that come to them, and then the abilities to perform that particular choice. So you will explain it to us. I don't want to jump into conclusion on that. But when you are, so an MBA student will put it in the chapter 2, but an MPhil student will have a whole chapter called the theoretical foundations. So look at the two different. Remember that I told you that the MPhil student will have to contribute to theory, but the MBA contribute to practice. So at the end of the day, the MBA student who is doing this one, his framework is more in the chapter 2. But at MPhil, you are contributing to knowledge. So we want to see that knowledge part of your work in terms of the theory. So they have a whole theoretical foundation section called chapter 3. So these are the two different things that you should look at when you're comparing the two. Any questions so far? Type your questions in those of you who are in the classroom, please, you can still join your phone and then type the question so that you can interact with us by typing your questions in the WhatsApp group, either the WhatsApp group or the chat room on the class. Okay. So please, when there's any question there, let me know. Because if I am teaching, there's a question there. Let me know.
Okay, Prof.
Okay. So there are different types of research frameworks. Okay. Now I said a research framework will pick a theory, take it to the field, modify it a little bit. As soon as you modify a theory, it will become a conceptual framework because you are conceptualizing how something will work in the field. So if I take the length times breadth and I'm taking to a piece of land, note that if I'm finding the area of a land 70 by 100, the theoretical area is 70 by 100, but the accessible area is different because sometimes there's a stone somewhere, there's a road coming through, there is a river or a tree somewhere, so I have to go around. So my accessible area to build my land, to build on it, would have to be modified. And by modifying, I can't use Lagrange transmit. I have to measure to some place, take a straight line, and then take another measurement. Because I'm doing modifications to get the area of the accessible land, I'm now moved to the conceptual area, conceptual field. So I said that the research framework is a good thing explaining how you are finding the relationship, the postulating how something works in the real world. You start with a theory, which will tell you what has been established already. But when you go to the field and turn it into a questionnaire, when you operationalize your theory into a questionnaire, you call it a conceptual frame or a conceptual model. So the two are all related to the research framework. A research framework at the theoretical stage before I go to the field is just the theory that I'm using to collect my data. When I operationalize it as a data collection model, I add a framework. I move to the conceptual way, so I call it the conceptual framework. Most often you see papers and they will not see research framework. You will see conceptual framework and then the theory behind it. But the two together form the research framework. The two together form the research. We'll come to this quite a number of times in your work. So you pick somebody's long essay, you see that, or thesis, you see that there's a part called research framework. In that part, he will explain that chapter, research framework chapter, or he will just explain his theory and then tell you that this is my conceptual framework. That's it. Okay. So a theory is something that has been established already. It's just a set of general propositions used as explaining and understanding what we observe in society. So we observe several things in society. To be able to explain them, we use a theory to do so. Good. And this is a theory of planned behavior. If you look at it, there's attitude, subjective norm, and perceived behavioral control. These are what we call the constructs of a theory. When I take the constructs of the theory, for example, a theory is saying that the intention to perform a behavior is subjected by a person's attitude. Subjective norm, what his friends are telling him or his peers are telling him. Perceived behavioral control, what his own assessment is. Like, it can be your finances, it can be your personal skills, things that can control the behavior. Now, all of this can either control the behavior or the intention. So you see that this is how this is at the theoretical stage. I can use this one to explain why people go to the hospital, a particular hospital, why they make a choice for the hospital. Why? Because maybe their attitude towards that going to that hospital. Maybe whenever I go there, the people are friendly, so I'm happy about going there. So I have a favorable attitude towards it. But my father has been going there, so subjective norm. Now the hospital doesn't charge much. They collect NHIS. So my perceived behavioral control, my finance income, and the fact that they have got flexible insurance systems can be my perceived behavioral control. These three things can inform my intention. But what will let me continue going to that hospital can be my behavioral control. When the things become more expensive, I may leave the hospital. So my income may not, in case they say I should go and do a procedure and the thing is very expensive, I cannot be able to handle it anymore. So it will go to perceived behavioral control. And that one can control my performance of the behavior. Now, before that model was set up, there was something called the theory of reason action. It's similar to, but it's a past one. People don't use it anymore currently. Because it was said that somebody's behavior is a function of the person's attitude or and the subjective norm. But later on, somebody modified the theory and added what you see here. Sorry. Added the perceived behavioral control. Okay. But I also wanted to point to that theories can also be expressed as a mathematical equation. So E is equal to MC squared. You may have known it in physics. So that one too exists. Like this. There are several versions of different theories. So your research framework can exist as a theory or as a conceptual framing. With a conceptual framing means that you have taken the theory, applied it to your work, and you are going to use it to collect data. But conceptual models themselves are used as analytical schemes just to help you collect data, to analyze your research questions. So that's why I call it conceptual framework. And it's always good that you move from the theory to conceptual stage. Because the theory stage, it's not easy to just apply it. You have to adapt it to your work. So you want to see why do students come to the University of Ghana or use iPhone. I can use the theory of planned behavior for that one, but I have to apply it to my work. I have to choose the variables in ways that it apply to my work. So instead of subjective norm, I can choose to use my peers who own iPhone. Attitude can be my own understanding about my attitude towards. I can use my prior experience with the iPhone or with the phone to measure my attitude, or I can even use my knowledge about phones to measure my attitude as one of the things to measure my attitude. And I can say my income level or my access to disposable income can be part of my perceived behavioral control. In this scenario, I've picked the theory of planned behavior and I'm using variables in them in a way that it will fit my study. So I've now moved from the theoretical state to the conceptual state. Most often, we see theoretical conceptual models as people picking certain factors from their studies and using from literature, using to carry out their data or their research. So, for example, somebody wants to do a study on unemployment and he reads the literature. After reading the literature, he realizes that low wages have been postulated by somebody that it affects unemployment, political instability, lack of startup capital, and high interest rates. Because he has read this from the literature, he can use them to draw a diagram to frame what happens in the field, what could cause unemployment in Ghana by the literature he has read. So sometimes people are able to establish their conceptual framework by not picking somebody's theory, but by picking the literature and reading. For example, why is Ghana say prevalent in Ghana? Do you look at that question? I can look at literature and go and find out the theory of necessity to be able to explain it, or the theory of environment or something from the environment to do that. I can also read the literature that exists and realize that political will is one. I can also look at the literature. Literature will also tell me that greed can be two. I'm just using the factors for nature that we know. And then aiding and abetting from communities can be three. And then lastly, lack of employment can be four. These are things I've read that maybe in Liberia, maybe people were doing galamsey because of lack of unemployment. Then Nigeria, in the northern region, political instability. And I also read that politicians greed in South Africa, in their mines, led to that. Then I also read something about Congo, that political instability led to diamond fencing and stuff. Now, all these are literature I've read. I can pick the factors from the literature and point them that these factors can contribute to galamsey in Africa or illegal mining in Africa. And I can go and collect my data pertaining maybe Bogoso or Konongo in Accra and in Ghana here. What did I do? I picked the factors from the literature. So sometimes when you're doing your long essay, you can either pick the factors from the literature or you pick from the theory. But when you are an MPhil student, we want you to pick more from the theory because you are contributing to theory. If you're an MBA student, you can pick from the literature. But if you are an MPhil student, you also want to do very well, you can pick from the literature and add some factors from the theory. So you can mix theory and literature as an MPhil student. But an MBA student, you can pick either a theory, you can either pick just the literature, the factors from the literature, or you can pick the two. MBA, we are not so much worrying you because you are contributing to practice. So most MBA students may just pick a theory, modify a little bit, and just go use for the work. But most MPhil students will pick a theory, add other factors from the literature to be able to challenge what exists. So if you're an MPhil student, you will do more. An MBA student, not necessarily that you do more, but yours is contributing to practice. So you may pick the factors, some of them from practice, and from the literature alone, and you can go ahead. Nobody will stop you. Nobody will stop you as an MBA student. I just want you to know these extremes because you are two in the class. Okay. Every theory has a construct, like I mentioned. L times L and B are the constructs of the area of a rectangle. And then the theory of planned behavior that I just showed you, the subjective norm is a construct that will express as a variable. Perceived behavioral control, behavioral intention are all constructs. What is interesting is that every theory has relationships in them. So the constructs have a relationship. For example, theory of planned behavior says that a person's intention to perform a behavior is a function of or is influenced by the attitude, and that is one relationship. It can also be a function of the perceived behavioral control, another relationship, And then it's also a function of what? The subjective norm. Now, the logic is how they all come together. When you put all these three together and we draw arrows at them, we establish that these are the glue that piece them together. And then it helps us to be able to analyze whatever we want to analyze. So L times B will give us area of a rectangle. Half base times height will give us that one of a triangle. And that's the logic of for that area of a triangle. But all of them have assumptions. For example, for the area of a rectangle, we are assuming that there's a longer side and a shorter side. And they are all angle 90 degrees angle in terms of when you put them in the angle in the corners. And that they are straight. But who knows? No land, no piece of land 70 by 100 is straight. It's always going to be meandering a little bit. So assumptions are always made about theories. For example, have you heard about the fact that water boils 100 degrees Celsius? Who has heard about it before? Water boils 100 degrees Celsius. Okay. Now, do you realize that there's some water called hard water? You can boil it and boil it and boil it. You can even go to 200 degrees. It may not boil very fast. Why? Because that water is not pure water. Not the pure water in the chassis. I'm talking about the pure water in terms of the purity of the 2 parts of hydrogen, 1 part of oxygen. So when we say water boils 100 degrees Celsius, we are referring to the pure water, pure combination chemically of the water, 2 parts of hydrogen, 1 part of oxygen. But when we have something different, it is not going to be pure water. So maybe the water may even boil before the 100 degrees Celsius or may boil after 100 degrees Celsius. So that's why we need to know that every theory has its assumptions. And there are also boundary conditions. Some theories are for studying organizations. Some theories are for studying individual behavior. The theory of plan behavior is for an individual behavior. But the resource-based theory is about competition in the industry for the firm. When you're doing MIS last year, and they also are going to do, and you'll be doing business information systems for MBA film, the theory called Porter's Forces, 5 Forces model is for industry study. Now, the theory that in medical science, the 5 stages of or psychology, the 5 stages of grief is for an individual grieving. You can't use it for studying a nation grieving. Grieving means the science stage of grief that you have got the first stage, where the person may be in denial. So the person may be in denial. Then you go to another stage, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. It was formulated by a guy called Kubler-Ross. Now, Kubler-Ross formulated that one to look at the emotional responses people have when they go through grief. But how can I use that one? If somebody doesn't pass an exam, we can use this one. But I cannot use this one for a nation. A nation may not go through this level of grieving at the same time like this. In fact, they may not even have all the stages. For example, if you are using them to study the recent calamity that happened to Ghana, the first one, can you say denial? Because social media put the story all over the place. So there was no denial. You had to jump from denial. There was some anger. But I don't know whether there was any bargaining. There was some depression, maybe for some members of parliament. But within about 2 weeks, within just about a week, acceptance happened. But if you look at Kubler-Ross, it's not easy for a person to just go through this as an individual. So their path for their individual will be very different from their path for a nation. And the nation may not go through these stages. So I don't know whether anybody has done this for the nation. Yeah. But Kubler-Ross says that every individual has his own way of adjusting to these things, and not in a strict linear order. And not all the steps will be going through by all individuals. You know, there are some issues that can happen that some people in the party, like somebody loses elections. And that same day that they lose elections, even the same people who were part of your campaign team, some of them are even happy that you lost. It's to surprise you. So they didn't even go to acceptance. They like their team before you even lost. So not all theories may work in the way that we expect them to work. So that we say there are boundary conditions. Some of them are. I think I've heard about capitalism before. Capitalism is an economic theory that looks at nations and economic states or economic systems. But I can't say one individual like Dr. Bano here is capitalism. He can have capitalist ideals, but he himself cannot be capitalism. Capitalism is at the national level or the economic level. Capitalist is an individual who has the ideals of capitalism. So these are different things that we should look at it carefully. So every theory has its boundary, and the boundary influences how we understand and use them. Okay, good. Now let me pause here and let's invite Dr. Mano to come and take one theory and show us the limits of the theory, the concepts of the theory, and how he used the theory for his work. Because that's what we want to understand. The next another time we'll take another theory, we'll take through the process. Well, I just wanted to give the fundamentals of theories. You are not going to contribute to theories in your to formulation of theories, maybe for your MPhil, like coming up with a new theory ever. No, MPhil, you are more of testing theories or extending a theory, but not trying to formulate a new theory that has never been before. MBAs, that one is even too far for you. So for now, let us know how to apply theories to the phenomenon or the issues we face in society. So Dr. Mano, you can take over. Let me stop sharing. You can take over on me.
Okay.
Also joined here by Dr. Soon to be Dr. Jefferson, who is the founder of Aftown and Aya Tickets. He also used one of the theories that Dr. Mano is going to explain, and then later on, maybe he can also have a turn to do that. I don't know whether Dr. Desmond, Mr. Desmond is here. Yeah, Desmond is not here. Okay. So Jefferson, you are welcome.
Thank you, Prof. Thank you very much. Hello, Dr. Bano.
He's the only Australian among us, so you see the slanging. Thank you very much. the rest of us, he's an Australian. Okay. Thank you very much.
All right. Good morning, everyone, once again. Good morning, Jeff. Good morning, Zelda.
Good morning, Doc.
Dr. Bano, sorry.
Yes,
the thing I told you from the passport of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, they said whether you'll be willing to do it is on. I just want to know. I have to send your name right now, so let me just give you the day.
Okay, Prof.
So good. It's on cyber security and Ghana's interests abroad, the role of the missions, cyber threats, data protection, and then secure communication practices. 10:30 on Thursday to 11:15. Is it okay?
Next week, Thursday.
16th, yeah, 16th, yeah.
Yes, Prof.
So I'll send you and Dr.
Budu.
Yeah, Dr. What's his name?
Dr. Budu.
Dr. Boateng, you okay? Thank you very much. Go ahead.
And so, Prof, please, you may send the topic.
Yeah, I'll send it to you.
Okay, Prof. Thank you.
All
right. So, class, I always say to the classes that we have that if you are shy to talk in class, please put your questions in the chats or in the WhatsApp page. I was like this when I was in our classes during our MPhil time. So you are lucky that you are not having in-person classes. So me, my time, I was not asking questions. If I had that opportunity, I would be sending questions in and out of the class. So please feel free to ask your questions. We'll address them. Okay. And for MPhil, as Prof mentioned earlier, for MPhil, you have a separate chapter for your theoretical foundation, or what you call the theory chapter. And then for MBA, you combine it with the literature review, and then have your conceptual framework at the end of your longest, yes. And so before you start thinking about the theories to use, you should know your topics. And so the topic I worked on was on cybercrime. But which particular form of cybercrime? Cybercrime is wide, it's broad. So you may have cyberbullying, you may have hacking, you may have phishing, and all those forms of cybercrimes that you may know. But there was a particular form of cybercrime that I worked on called romance scams, what we generally term Sakawa. But upon going to the field and collecting data, I noticed that there is a vast difference between Sakawa and Romance Camp, which in the course of the semester would look at possibly those doing MPhil. I'm sure when we meet on Fridays, some of these things may come up when we go deeper into the work. And so you first of all begin by writing your chapter overview. We'll look at this later on in our classes. And then before you get your theories, you need to review literature. And so we reviewed literature. I'm just brushing over this so that you have an understanding of how it feels like to come at your theories. We reviewed literature to look at the theories that have been applied in cybercrime. Okay. And so what you are seeing here, where you are having theory and then the theme here, the theory part is telling you the kinds of theories that have been used. But my interest in researching on romance scams was particularly about the motivation of the offenders. Okay. I was not looking at the victims, even though I went into the study to look at victims and offenders. But I noticed that we could not have access to victims in Ghana. And this was said to me by the Ghana police that victims do not actually come forward like that. And so we went to look at the offenders and their motivation behind why they actually commit the offense. Now, one thing you also need to pay attention to is that you may start the work and realize that the theories will not be coming to you like that. Okay. And so you would have to read and see where to which theory to use. For example, I was writing my chapter 4 when I realized that someone in the University of Ghana had used the theory that I initially started the work with. The person was also looking at, basically the whole thing that I was working on had been done by someone called Daniel Enin from the sociology department, MPhil. And so when Prof started teaching you this morning, he mentioned that the centrality of the research is the research questions that you ask. And so I approached Prof and he said, change the questions. Changing the questions means that your topic, not the topic, but the title may change. Okay, the literature that you had reviewed then would also change. Okay, and so changing all those things would change the nature of your questions. And so changing the nature of the questions then brought me to land at where we would then look at the motivation of the offenders. Okay, now we decided to go into the motivation of the offenders because the first theory that we're using, which Daniel had used then, was called RAT. We'll also look at it later on. But even though RAT looks at the offender, it doesn't look at the opportunities available to the offender, that motivated offender. And not someone, but our examiner in the department who may be marking some of your works, called Professor Longe. I met him at one of our vivas, and I had opportunity to talk to him. And so yeah, he sent me most of his papers, and reading through some of the papers, he had also written somewhere that motivation alone is not enough for one to commit. And so you need to move beyond just motivation to find the other variables, sorry, not the other constructs that may cause one to commit an offense. That was where the confusion started. And so I kept combing around. So which theory can I use to complement the RAT, the routine activity theory that I was already having, that I was running with. Already, Professor Longe had told me that the RAT, it was a traditional crime theory, and like people are no more using it. Okay. And so how can I not upgrade but advance the RAT theory, RAT, okay, routine activity theory. And so I kept talking to people, and I spoke to Professor Boateng, not the one in this class, but Professor Lovia Boateng, who is a marketing professor. Okay. And then she mentioned to me that what you are looking at, okay, there is a theory in our field called MOA, Motivation, Opportunity, Ability Framework then, or theory. Just look at it, like consider looking at that one. And she gave me a paper that transformed how I began seeing my work. And so the paper she gave me actually was from marketing. And so look at where the theory is coming from, marketing. But when I went to IS, I noticed that there was only one paper that had actually looked at the motivation, opportunity, ability theory. And that was where the transformation started. And so don't just, yesterday I was telling the MPhil, the PhDs that the academic journey is a lonely journey. Even though it's a lonely journey, you need to talk to people. Keep talking to people. This thing that I'm doing, what do you think about it? Please, we've not started the theory yet. So, and so this is where the change came in. I had the motivation, but then where are the other variables that Professor Longe spoke about? Where are the other constructs that Professor Longe spoke about that motivation alone is not enough to propel one to commit an offense or to compel one to commit an offense? Where are the other variables? And it was actually in the O and the A, because I had the M already, but the O and the A were missing. And so that was where the motivation, opportunity, ability theory came in. So whilst writing your chapter 3, MPhil, all the theories that you have reviewed, okay, by way of literature, you need to write on them and how it has been applied in the field that you are working on. And so Prof spoke about the Galamsey example. I've always been saying that the MOA framework fits perfectly in the Galamsey example. Someone had used it in tourism. Someone had used it in social media. Jefferson here used it in AI and music. Okay. And so someone who is also interested in Galamsey can also pick the same theory and go and conceptualize it within that, contextualize it within that phenomenon. Okay. And so don't say that because the theory has been propounded for marketing, you can't use it for marketing and for information systems, management information system in that regard. So this was the first theory that I was running with. This was not actually enough to answer my questions. And so I reviewed that one too and made a case that the theory can stand alone or can be combined with other theories. And so anything you write here, I always tell our students that anything you write in the thesis, make sure you are ready to defend it. So don't just splash words or tables and diagrams in your work and think, okay, so that is it. No, you should be able to tell the reason you are putting this particular table. I put this particular table, RAT in cybercrime studies. Why did I put it there? I could have ended at the usage, but I went on to look at other theories that were combined with the RAT to address Olaimi's questions or objectives that the person went out to. But all these people had used it as sole theories. And so it was strong enough, but was not adequate to answer my questions. Hence, the need to go to the RAT. Now, you notice that, sorry, they need to go to the MOE. You notice that we started with RAT, but then we are having something else here. Every theory that you use, you should look out for the weaknesses of that theory. If you are using more than one theory, why are you using another theory? Then you need to tell us why. What are the weaknesses in that theory? Hence, adding other theories. Okay, so all the theories that I used, I define them. Now let's look at particularly the motivation, opportunity, ability theory or the framework. Now, the MOA was established to explain how consumers process information in advertisements. I told you that the theory was particularly propounded for marketing studies, okay, or from the marketing field. So you can tell clearly here that this is from marketing, advertisements here from marketing, okay. Even though I've mentioned Clark et al. Did not propound the theory. The theory was actually propounded by McInnes and Jaworski. Okay, so note that the theory was propounded by McInnes and Jaworski over here, as we are seeing here. And so the MOA framework, which McInnes and Jaworski in 1989 postulated, posits that individuals process information based on their underlying motives, opportunities, and abilities. Now, questions you may be asking would be that, and so how is what you are saying related to the romance scams that you spoke about? So keep asking yourselves when you are writing your long essays and your thesis that this thing that I'm doing, how does it benefit what I'm doing? How is it related to what I'm doing? So keep asking yourself the questions, and so what? Okay, so the framework has successfully been used in various disciplines. Why am I saying that it has been used in various disciplines? Because I am picking it from elsewhere and then coming to use it in IS. So you have to water down the ground that, okay, since it has been used elsewhere in various disciplines, it is also possible for us to bring it into our field. Please, are we on the same page? If you are following what we are saying, give us thumbs up so that we'll know that you are following, unless you are confused. Okay, there are 2 comments. Oh, you can't hear me. I hope it's better now. MBA. I hope it's better now. The MBA class.
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Okay, thank you. So, like I said, everything you put on the paper, you type on paper, okay, make sure you are ready to defend it. And the reason I put this here is because I'm trying to water down the ground such that everybody knows that it has been applied elsewhere. And so we can also apply it in our field. And so the framework has successfully been used in various disciplines to explain a wide array of behaviors. This includes, but not limited to, I'm sure you have done something like this in your research methods class. The MPhils will meet and discuss words like this. Okay, limited to knowledge sharing. So that is one field. Social media, that is another. Consumer choices and firm level decision making, that is another. Okay. Nonetheless, the framework has also been used as a conceptualizing, organizing framework for knowledge management practices and research, another one. Okay. And in management disciplines when discussing an individual's work performance. So I've mentioned the disciplines or areas where the theory has been used. Okay, now let's move forward. The explanation of the framework is that all 3 dimensions must be present. So you can't have just 2 being present to make one commit an offense. And so, for example, or for one to make a purchasing decision while watching an advert. Example, someone may watch an advert, or possibly let's use the Galamsey thing. Someone may be motivated to go into Galamsey because the person is poor, the person is looking for money. Okay, so that's the motivation. Now, what are the opportunities? Opportunities may be that Prof mentioned that some people may know the thing, but then they may be turning their blind eye on you committing the offense. Okay, so nobody watching you whilst you commit the offense is an opportunity. Another opportunity may be that there's some rich man around who is able to fund you to go into the forest to go and commit the offense. That's an opportunity. Then the ability will be that you have the strength to go and dig and stay in the forest for how long? That is your personal ability or capability. Okay. And so you can't take out ability and say motivation and opportunity are alone for one to go into something. You can't take out opportunity and say motivation and ability would be alone. I mean, it would be enough for one to go into doing something. And so that is one strong thing or one strong statement that you need to pay attention to. So the explanation of the framework is that all 3 dimensions must be present for a behavior to be enacted. Okay. Now, let's move fast forward and then pick the contrast one after the other. So motivation. The first component of the framework is actually motivation, which I've been mentioning. In fact, some people have decided to arrange them in particular order. It depends on how you are looking at it, especially those who use it quantitatively will say that motivation should come first before opportunity, or opportunity should come first before one is motivated. And they are able to prove them because they are using quantitative. They need to, in fact, they decide to tell you how those the construct should be arranged. But in my instance, all 3 must be present, whether opportunity is first or not. All 3 must be present. And so there's no particular order. So you may see some arranging it as AMO. may see some original MAO. Okay, in my case, we went MOA, but it was not in any particular order. And so the first component, which is the motivation, okay, has been identified as the driving force that pushes an individual to make a decision. Note that at this point, I am not talking about cybercrime yet. This first statement here is the general understanding of motivation from the reviews that I had done. Okay. Now, in conceptualizing the framework's motivation dimension, Murphy and Dawson, 2011, referred to motivation as the pressure to commit fraud. Please, who can tell me what is now happening here? Let's have a discussion. Let's have a discussion. Dennis, I know you, so please, if I know you and don't want to talk, I'll call you. Dennis Tete, I know you, please talk. Is he in the class?
I'm in class.
Yes, so please talk. What do you think is happening here?
I cannot hear you.
Anybody can talk though. What do you think is happening here? The first statement is a general statement, but the second statement is saying that in conceptualizing the framework's motivation dimension, these two people referred to motivation as the pressure to commit fraud, which includes social pressures, such as how individuals wish to be seen by others. What is happening here between these two statements?
I think one is explaining the other.
Any other person, please. Any other person can talk to us. What do you think is happening here?
Hello, sir.
Yes. Yes, please.
I think this.
Please go ahead. Don't worry.
I think the patient on both sides, but one has positive effects and the other one has negative effects.
Okay, let me explain to you. Notice that I told you my work is on cybercrime. All the explanations that I did or I've done from the beginning, okay, I have not mentioned that I'm going to apply it to cybercrime. Okay, now, whilst reading, when you get here, the first statement, the one in yellow, is still a general statement about motivation. But the second one, look at the first thing I said, in conceptualizing the framework's motivation. Now I'm bringing you home to the work I'm doing, the phenomenon I am looking at. Someone can say, in conceptualizing the framework's motivation dimension in cybercrime or to cybercrime, Murphy and Dawson referred to motivation as the pressures to commit fraud. So from the beginning, all those things that we have been talking about have been like, okay, what is MOA in the context of where it has been applied and where it has not been applied and all those. But then now I'm bringing you home to the fact that my work is on cybercrime. It is at this point that you tell everybody that this work that you are doing is in relation to AI and music. It is at this point that you tell everybody that motivation that you are looking at is in relation to how people wish to be seen with iPhone 17. Are we on the same page, please?
And we can hear
Yes,
you.
Prof. Okay, please. Now, so beyond that, however, it is worth noting that motivation is unitary phenomenon, as the level of motivation varies from one person to the other. One person may be motivated by one thing, another person may be motivated by another thing. Motivation can be viewed mainly in two ways, intrinsic or extrinsic. Others have made their own, that have advanced these two types of motivation. Okay, but from the review that I did, these two motivation, types were dominant. Others also say that there is one called a motivation, where the person is not motivated either by money or by the feel-good factor. Okay, now, so all that is happening here is for me to bring you home to the fact that we are looking at motivation in relation to the phenomenon that we are looking at. So a number of existing studies have outlined some motivation towards the commission of online crimes. Again, from the beginning, everything was about anything and everything. But now we are looking at motivation in relation to cyber crimes, online crimes, romance scams, everything about crime. And so every paper that has talked about motivation in any way in their works can be referred to in this particular space that we are in now. The papers that you read may not be exactly talking about MOA framework, but they might have picked just motivation and spoken about it. Okay, or looked at how people are motivated, get motivated in committing offenses. Okay. Now, for instance, while establishing the particularities of cybercrime in Nigeria, I've taken one of the papers and now talking about it. When we meet in the MPhil class, we will talk about arguments, evidence, and illustration. We have said something. A number of existing studies have outlined some motivation towards the commission of online crimes. For example, whilst establishing the particularities of cyber crimes in Nigeria, Ibrahim 2016 established that cybercrime perpetrators could be motivated by. So everything that we are talking about here is under motivation, not under any other construct. Okay. Could be motivated by three possible ways: socioeconomic, psychological, and geopolitical. Okay. Now, let's move beyond this and go to where we have opportunity. So please don't just write one paragraph and say you are done. It is not enough. Go deeper. I know this is a PhD work, but as an MPhil, go deeper into whatever you are reading and whatever you are writing, and make sure you are able to exhaust every possible space that anybody can take advantage of to question your work. Okay. And so I went on to look at studies that have looked at motivation, the purpose of those studies, the theories that they used. I told you that the studies may not particularly look at the MOA framework, or may not have particularly used the MOA framework. They might have used other frameworks, but were focusing on motivation, or focused partly on motivation. And so the theory that these people used was a conceptual framework based on the fraud triangle. I've used the fraud triangle before in one of my works. Then the method was qualitative. But what are the motivational factors that they looked at? Financial motivation, pressure, social motivation, okay, or gain respect or enhance their self-esteem and all those. Now, this person also looked at motivation using Maslow's theory of needs, okay, Herzberg's two-factor theory, and then the RAT that I spoke about earlier, also qualitative. What are the factors? Unemployment. So this table is substantiating the fact that you have actually reviewed theories, you have discussed the theories in relation to motivation, and even the factors that they are looking at. Prof mentioned that whilst we are teaching you now about theories, we'll be looking at how the theories that we are looking at reflect in your interview guides and your questionnaires. Now look at the factors that are here. These are the factors that I'm going to look at in relation to the questions that I set for data collection. And so it is for no reason that this particular column was added. Like I said, anything you splash on the paper, be ready to defend it, or have reasons for splashing whatever you splash on the paper. Okay. So let's move beyond motivation, because I told you Professor Longe in one of his papers mentioned that motivation alone is not enough to get one into committing an offense. Now, look at how we're able to link motivation to the next section, which is opportunity. Please, let me boast small. When I was writing this thesis, there was no ChatGPT. Okay. And so sometimes I feel proud of myself when I'm reading my own work. Let's look at this. In considering the motivations for the commission of internet crimes, a complete explanation ultimately must consider the sociocultural environments. Now, what we have discussed above, okay, is in relation to motivation, but we want to transition into opportunity. And so my last paragraph here is trying to massage the reader's mind that please, we are moving out of motivation into another space. And so, in considering the motivation for the commission of internet crimes, a complete explanation ultimately must consider the sociocultural environments in which people conduct their daily lives. This then leads the discussion to the configurations of the forces in the person's environment that enables the person's work performance. So what is within the environment that you can take advantage of, okay, to enable what you do? Someone wants to commit an offense. What are the constellations within the environment that can get the person, or that can push the person forward, okay, into committing the offense? And that is opportunity. Then we move to opportunity proper. So when writing, please be conscious about what you put on the paper. Okay, so opportunity is the second dimension of the MOA framework, which is the circumstances that allow for or facilitate people to perform a certain behavior. So opportunity reflects the presence of enabling environmental mechanisms that facilitate task performance and external contextual factors that enable performance. Okay, now, so in my context, what does opportunity mean? Based on excellent research on fraud and cybercrime, please, again, try and contextualize what you are writing. The thing had been propounded for marketing research, advertisement, and all those. But in your context, based on excellent research on fraud and cybercrime, bring the readers home to what you are working on. Opportunity in relation to the commission of fraud arises when fraudsters see a way to use their position of trust to solve a financial problem, knowing he or she is unlikely to be caught. That is an opportunity. The fact that you know that the police can catch you, can arrest you, but the police will not take you to the police station because the police will take bribe from you, that is an opportunity to you. The fact that you can go to the internet cafe and see others committing the same thing, forming a social culture or cyber gang culture, that is an opportunity to you. The opportunity that you can buy internet bundle and go and hide in your room so that you will no more go to the cafe is also an opportunity for you. The fact that you can acquire a laptop by the roadside at $1,500 when the offense you are going to commit will fetch you about $20,000, that is an opportunity for you. Okay. And so, for example, in studying organizational fraud, Mansour pointed out that opportunity is created by ineffective control. When police is not watching, it is ineffective. When government does not have policies, it is ineffective. It is an opportunity, sorry, that allows individuals to commit organizational fraud. Opportunity further becomes more attractive to perpetrators when the probability of being caught is even low. And so, whilst you write what has been done in other spaces, bring it down to what you are looking at in relation to your crime, the cyber crime that you are looking at, in relation to the galamsey you are looking at, in relation to the social media adoption you are looking at, in relation to iPhone 17 adoption you are looking at. Okay, come down to where you are looking at. Now, let's move again. The table comes up here. The same thing around Siola and Asindemade. These people looked at 60-something offenders in Nigeria. Okay. And this is the purpose. Did they use theories? The MPhils, you'll be doing systematic reviews and other assignments. So pay attention to what is happening here. Did they use theories? If they didn't use theories, then non-applicable comes here. What methodology or context did they use? Qualitative, the context is Nigeria. Okay. Then the factors here, collaboration with state authorities, and access to computers and post-secondary school education. Okay. Then Boateng, Olumide. So the Professor Longe's name that I mentioned, this is Professor Longe, this is Professor Boateng, the one in this class, of course. Professor Boateng, this is one of our seniors. Dr. Budo, I think we've mentioned his name earlier. Okay. And the context is Ghana. Did they use any theory? No. Qualitative context, Ghana. Then their factors also came up. Note that the factors, the people will not mention the factors in the paper like, okay, these are the factors you are looking at. You would have to read the paper and sieve out the factors that the writers used. Okay. Then this is witty, no theory, qualitative, the context is Nigeria, and then the factors are there. Now, having discussed the driving force, which is the motivation, and the environmental leverages, which is opportunity, to the commission of online criminal activities, it is imperative to delve into the behavioral decisions under the constraints of available resources and knowledge. Hence, we are looking at ability. Move to ability now. So, please, if you have any question, let's see if there are questions available in the chat. Is there any question, please? Is there any question, please? MPhil, MBA. Am I going too fast? Am I confusing somebody? MPhil and MBA, please. Are you confused?
No, sir, we are not.
Okay, thank you. So let's continue. So the next session is 3.3.3, of course, which is ability, the third dimension of the framework that I'm looking at. So, like I said, motivation is not alone to get one into committing an offense. And so we found opportunity, we found ability as, motivation, ability, and opportunity as the three main components or factors that may cause one to go into committing an offense. Once again, we generally looked at ability in terms of how it has been used elsewhere. Okay. And then relative to cybercrime. So please pay attention to the operational words or the linking words that I'm using. Anytime I have or I'm done discussing the dimension in relation to any other area or discipline, I bring it down to in relation to cybercrime, relative to cybercrime, in the context of cybercrime. And so, again, always try and draw your readers closer to what you are working on. Okay, pull your readers closer to what you are working on rather than leaving them to think that, oh, so this thing is general. No, you went into the study with a particular topic. You went into the study with a particular focus. While the thing has been applied elsewhere, how has it been applied in the space that you are working on? Okay, so relative to cybercrimes, there seems to be a lack of studies that emphasize the abilities of the perpetrators. You are punching your own self that, okay, this thing, whilst you read, you didn't find much about it. But the few that you found, okay, so the word over here, look at what we saw. Sorry, I think my machine is going off. Just a moment. We didn't find much on abilities. And so the next sentence, look at this. Among the few studies reviewed, okay, after saying that you didn't find much, you are telling us that the few that you had, one of them, which is Hansen, 2012, which aimed to extend an earlier research that first introduced the cybercrime execution stack concepts by examining in detail the underlying data objective of cybercriminal. In establishing why cybercriminals initiate data attacks, the author pointed out that the cybercriminals' ability to use technology. So you notice that there is one ability here, ability to use technology. Okay. Ability to use technology and exploits the internet to directly access, manipulate, and communicate electronic data is a basic feature in commission of cybercrimes and other illicit or criminal behaviors. So the first one we found was the ability to manipulate computers or technologies. That is one ability that we find here. Now, you can go through, when you get the chapter, you can go through, okay, and notice that what I did for opportunity motivation, I did same for opportunity, and I've done same here for ability. Now, note again, hunting 2012. What did we see there? Use of technology, exploit of the internet to directly access, manipulate, and communicate electronic data. We did the same for this person. Okay. Now, he found social abilities and then technical abilities. What are technical abilities? The ability to create own programs. Therefore, buttressing what we found here, the use of technology. So, ability to create own programs, knowledge of operating systems, programming languages, same thing that we saw here, buttressing what we saw here, use of technologies. Then for social abilities, social norms internalization, relationship with other people, adapt to social norms. Now, these are the factors that this person also looked at. Okay, and so after reviewing all these things that we have reviewed, the MOA framework in relation to other fields and bringing it down to cybercrime, you need to come out with what we call the conceptual framework. After doing all this, how does it relate to your work? What are you going into the study with? What are you going onto the field with to go and collect your data? So what is the nature of this thing that you have done? The study that you have conducted, what are you going to do with it at the end of it all? Note that I combined three main theories. Sorry, not three main, I combined three theories. So one was the RAT, which I brushed over in the beginning, the MOA, which we've looked at, and then the next one is the neutralization theory. Okay. Now, we'll look at it possibly later on when we have more time. I did same as I did for the other ones in relation to the NT, neutralization theory. But like I said, you need to come up with what we call the conceptual framework. The conceptual framework actually looks at how the theories that you have combined, how they pan out, what you are going into the study with, what are you going to discuss in your study, what are you going to collect data on, what are you going to collect data with. Okay, and so the RAT, the routine activity theory, had three main components or three components: the motivated offender, the presence of the victim, and then the absence of capable guardian. Absence of capable guardian means that there's no one watching, basically, or someone is watching, but the person has turned a blind eye. Okay, and so when you combine all these three theories, what does it say? I went into the field saying that once a person is motivated, that is not alone. Okay, which kind of motivation does the person need to go into the commission of the offense with? It could be intrinsic motivation, it could be extrinsic motivation. Remember, I mentioned that. Then you have opportunity. What are the opportunities available? What are the factors? The factors that I went through in the work. Which ones were strong enough when I was reading through, when I was writing? The absence of capable guardian, which was found in the RAT. When you read, I'll look for the paper. I've forgotten the name. When I remember, I'll tell you. It's a 2021 paper by someone. When you read that paper, it tells you that the two constructs in the RAT, which are absence of capable guardian and suitable targets, are opportunities for an offender to go into the commission of online crimes. And so I grouped these two factors under opportunity here. Then gang culture, as postulated by, as put forward by Whitty, you saw it in the table. Access to computers, I mentioned. Computer knowledge, which I mentioned. Okay. Now, then that person again needs those two abilities that we saw in the last table, technical ability and social ability. But beyond all this, why is the person committing an offense? According to the person themselves, okay, according to the people committing the offense, why are they committing the offense? They will tell you that they don't know the victims that they are committing the offense against. And so when you go up here to where we have the table for the neutralization technique, denial of victim, what does it say? Where is it here? Criminals take pride in how much they can exploit victims, usually from the Western world, and make a fortune from them, from the greed of some individuals that want to make quick money. So pay back for what they did. So denial of victim, that is what we have there. We also have denial of victim here standing out. And so, like I mentioned, most of the things you find here in the framework are the strong ones that stood out when we're reviewing theories. Denial of injury, condemning the condemned. Now you are saying I'm committing offense. Are you a criminal? Aren't you a criminal yourself? Are people not even committing worse things than what I'm doing? Okay. And so this one's the neutralization must also be present when one is committing an offense. The person must find justification for committing the offense and before the person goes on to commit the offense. And so this is how the combination of the three theories came up. When we move forward in this class, we'll be looking at, when you combine theories, how you go about that. Today, our focus has been on motivation, opportunity, and ability. Finally, before I hand over back to Prof, I had to relate the constructs, okay, or the constructs in my framework to my research questions. And so when you just don't wake up and draw your conceptual framework or come up with conceptual frameworks, how is the conceptual framework addressing the questions that you have or the objectives that you set from the beginning of your work? And so let's go to my question 1. Question 1A. I was looking at the motivations. So what are the triggers of cybercriminal behaviors in relation to motivation? And so I defined, in fact, in previous literature, motivation had been looked at as the pressures to commit fraud, which includes social pressures such as how individuals wish to be seen by others. And then this one also looked at it in relation to the factors that push one to commit, to carry out cybercrime. But in my study, how am I looking at how am I looking at motivation? In my study, I define motivation as the socioeconomic conditions that drive individuals to commit internet romance scams. And these are the factors that I looked at. And these are the factors that I'm going to ask questions on when I go onto the field. When we begin looking at drawing up your interview guide, we'll be coming back to this. And then question 1B, what are the opportunities? I looked at how opportunities have been defined in literature and how I'm defining opportunity in my work, the forces in the environment of a person that enables the person to engage in the commission of online crimes. And then ability, how ability has been looked at in literature, and then how I'm looking at ability, social and technical qualities. So you notice that I mentioned social and technical abilities in my framework. So social and technological qualities that an individual possesses to perform online romance scams. And then I also looked at the factors that I'll be taking to the field. And so basically, this is what I have in relation to the MOA framework and how I used it in my work. Thank you so much. I hope I've not confused anybody in our first session of theories in IS research. Hello.
Thank you, Doc.
You're welcome, everyone. Please, if you have any question, the floor is open. My colleagues are here. Jefferson, Zelda is here, Prof is also here. If you have any question, you may ask. Any of us can address those questions. Please, if you have any question, you may.
Hello, Doc.
Yes, Dennis.
Yes, you spoke about borrowing ideas from other disciplines. So like in your point, you mentioned that you borrowed from the market.
Yes.
Is there any rule to like maybe borrowing a statement from the other department? Is there any rule? Like you don't look for this or don't do this or don't, if you get my question.
You are asking if there's any rule that guides how you borrow theories from other fields.
Yes, exactly what I'm asking.
Okay. I have not come across any rule per se, but don't go too far from where you are. You get it? Don't go too far from the field that you are studying. You are in information systems. Don't go too far from your neighbors. You may borrow theories from elsewhere, provided you don't have those theories in your space. But if you go too far and you notice that the theory that you are going to borrow may change the work, notice that the work that I'm doing or I did was lying in between information systems and criminology. Okay, so the RAT came from criminology. But the other fields, example, sociology, also looks at cybercrime. And so if you move beyond, and also marketing, you may have, not you may, but we have marketing fraud. Those who buy things online, they don't receive them. So if you move beyond, let's say, all these fields that are very strong in cybercrime research, and then you go to, let's say, music or theater. Why am I mentioning music and theaters? And then you go and pick theories from there. You may end up writing your thesis in information systems, but then your contribution may be in music. Okay, possibly talking about digital piracy in relation to music. Is it IS or music? And so don't go too far from the field that you find yourself. Dennis, I hope that's okay.
Yes.
And please, Zelda and Jefferson, if there's any addition you would want to make, please, you may feel free to come in. Please, any other question? Any other question, please? Hey, please, you have to develop the habit of asking questions. So don't WhatsApp me back door and say this thing you said I didn't understand. Please develop the habits. I remember some of the classes we have to force the students to ask questions, because it's through the question. If Dennis hadn't asked this question, I wouldn't have spoken about it at all. So please develop that habit of asking questions. Okay, the centrality of every research is the research question. So please ask as many questions as you don't be shy. I told you I was shy when I was having my MPhil, and that wasn't pleasant at all. Okay. And so please don't be shy to ask questions. If you have any questions, please put them in the chat room. We will address them. We won't insult you or bash you for asking questions that are not relevant, or for don't ask irrelevant questions, but please ask questions. Mr. Akron, Mr. Kwatson, Mr. Kwatson, MBA class, OE5, MPhil, Helen, Jesse Ochri, Emmanuel, please. The floor is open for questioning. Dennis, you are also part. The floor is open for questions. For questioning, please. Okay, so in the absence of questions, I'll hand over to Prof. This morning we spoke about an assignment that you would be doing, and so I'll structure the assignment and then post it to you on the WhatsApp page. So in the absence of questions from you, I'll hand over the class back to Prof. Thank you so much, Prof.
Thank you, sir. Doc, please,
Yes, please.
MBA students. The MBA students, we are not part of the platform.
They are not part of the
WhatsApp group that has been.
Yeah, so we'll share the link with you to join, and the question will be put there once you are on.
Dennis, I will share with you.
Okay, MPhil will share with you. Yes, that's fine. That's fine. All right. Thank you. Prof, please, thank you. Zelda and Jeff, please, do you have anything to add to what we've discussed so far?
Yeah, I have something. First of all, I think
Prof.
there's opportunity to contribute to the MOA framework. You see, when you're talking about opportunity, I realize that we are not looking at opportunity from different perspectives. Some of the opportunities are negative. Some of those are positive. For example, weakness in policies is a negative because there's a weakness. That's why they are getting opportunity. But
Yes, Prof.
increase of internet width or internet bandwidth, like what Sam George has mentioned, reducing of internet prices, making internet more accessible. It's a positive thing, but it has generated a negative effect. So there are positive societal opportunities that create, or technological opportunities that create vulnerabilities for this one to continue. And there are negative ones. So I think the literature has not categorized the opportunities. And I think that's a big area for even a master's or a PhD. I don't know whether I understand what I'm trying to say.
Yes, Prof. I do.
To see whether in certain situations does positive societal opportunities become more the more significant factors in predicting either galamsey or what's the name cybercrime, like in this scenario. And that could be somebody can just study opportunity alone to see how societal positive and negative opportunities create enhance or have to curb or enhance the effect of the situation we are trying to study. But it's something that you can look into. So you can put down, you can be a paper you can even look into. For example, even somebody can say education. Somebody is more educated now about at a young age, teaching a child how to open a website, how to do ethical hacking. And a person now uses that hack opportunity I've taught him to be able to now do a negative thing. Yes. True. So if you go to Sredu like this, internet has come there, but now people are using it for cyber prostitution. But the same internet in Godowa may be a different effect. So the opportunities made is not necessarily bad. It is other societal things that can also influence it to become bad.
True.
Good. And that's what can. Okay, so class, there's something I want us to do. Please I want you to take a piece of paper. Maybe so that I can type it down, then we can put it there on the class platform. A piece of paper, and then write your name and index number, and whether you're doing M4 or MBA. And this is the question I want you to answer. I want you to write with your hand. I don't want you to go and do ChatGPT and bring it to me. What I want you to do is to write one. A societal problem or industry problem you have seen. So describe the problem yourself. Maybe poor how people select, maybe how people choose their hospitals, or even like banking products. Yes, how people choose banking products. And then there's a lot of banking products, but what kind of motivates people to choose a particular banking product? That could be the societal problem you have seen or industry problem. Then frame a research. That's your research purpose. You want to conduct a research to be able to explore the motivational opportunity and ability factors that influence the selection of a banking product. So that's an example. So that will be the purpose of your study. And then come up with objectives, and then what's the name? Objectives, and then what's the name? Research questions to answer it. You didn't go through the questionnaire.
No, Prof. Because I focused more on the theory.
Okay, then next time you do a questionnaire. But this is what I wanted to show them. So let me open my ChatGPT. I know they use it already, so let me show you, teach them something better. So let's say that class, I hope you can hear me. I'm not sharing my screen. Then we can go.
Yes, sir, I can hear you.
So on top of it, now that you have written the thing with your hand, this is what I want you to do. You will take a picture of what you have written with your hand and then upload it onto the class platform, the WhatsApp platform. And then tomorrow or by Friday, you submit the hard copy to the department office. Charles is there. You can say it's a tourist assignment for Prof. Boateng. Submit the hard copy. But for now, you write everything in your hand. Then before Friday, you take a picture of it and upload it to the WhatsApp platform. So that and you add your name and your index number to it. Please, when you're writing on the sheet of paper, add your phone number and your email address, just in case we want to contact you. Don't type it, use your hand to write one page. So the industry problem or the business problem you have seen, the research purpose, the research objectives, and the research question. That's all. When you finish that, you go to Gemini. Go to Gemini, and then you type You choose Canva mode. Canva mode is here. Sorry. Canvas mode. Choose Canvas mode. Then say that, okay, develop. I am a student carrying out this for carrying out a research on the motivation, the factors which influence the selection of electronic banking products among bank customers, among maybe student bank customers in Accra. I am using the motivation, opportunity, and what
Ability.
opportunity and ability. What's the name? Theory.
Framework.
By who? What's the name of the author?
McInnes and Jaworski.
How do you spell the McInnes?
MACINIS.
INIS. Let me zoom in a little bit. Some students may see that they're not seeing. McInnes, and then what? McInnes
and Jaworski. No, the V is W. SKI.
What year?
1989.
Okay. Develop a research purpose and objectives and a questionnaire to collect data on University of Ghana campus. Okay, but choose the university you want to, any university you want to, on University of Ghana campus. So it will do it for you nicely. Canvas mode. Please, don't do this thing before you do the assignment. Do the assignment first and upload it. Then tomorrow and upload it. After that, they go and do this one. I want you to compare what you wrote from your head and what AI did for you. Please, that's the only way you will learn. If you let the AI do it for you, you won't learn anything. Because in the exam hall, you do it. So you see how it has done it for you. Dennis, I've seen your hand up. Please, can I finish before you, or you ask a question to interrupt it? So it has done it for me nicely. It's applying the theoretical framework. It has given me my questions. Okay. Please, can you see what it is doing? Don't use ChatGPT. Use Gemini. Gemini is smarter in doing this than ChatGPT. So listen to me. I know the AI, I use it already. I'm just helping you to use it with wisdom. Okay. What is he saying? I prepare a few documents for you to start working. And then I've done the questionnaire on one side and a guide to administering the questionnaire. That's even good. But I didn't tell you to do interview guide. That's why it has done a quantitative questionnaire. So I will first of all export the first part to Docs. You export to Docs. I think that one you need an account first. It's a normal Google account. They can download it. Then you export the questionnaire to. Good. That's done the questionnaire for you. Fidelity Bank, everything is there. Today I've somebody say, hey Prof, I've helped us finish my MPhil. Yes, I've helped you finish your MBA assignment. Well, if they catch you that you're using this, so it's up to you. But we are teaching you what he taught you and how what it relates to your work. So you export this one to Docs. Then you format it nicely and submit this one, your research framework part. You see that, so it has even called a research framework already. A framework, theoretical framework, good. And then you submit, and with that, together with this one, your questionnaire, submit it to us. And then add your one you wrote with your hand, which should be different from the. It's not wrong, though. I'm letting you help you to learn how to compare. It should be different from this one. Yeah. and submit that one to us. When you come next week, if you submit it on Friday, please, you are submitting. Sakai is not yet ready, but on the class platform, on the class syllabus, I've put it on the syllabus on the WhatsApp platform. Dr. Bano's email address is there. Zelda's email address is there. So you can email both the Zelda, write it in your email both the hard copy you wrote with your hand and then the soft copy to us. And then submit both the soft copy and the hard copy, submit both of them printed again to the department office. I'll collect the printed one myself. I want to mark the printed and one you wrote with your hand. But you are also going to email this one to Dr. Bannon. Write a very good email and Dr. and Zelda. You write and say that my name is this. I'm submitting my assignment here. So Zelda, write the assignment nicely for me so that we can put on the class platform. They can understand it. What are they doing? They will first of all do a manual one, which they are hand from their own head, not from anything that they are going to do on e-banking, not e-banking. Choose this is my topic. Nobody should choose my topic. Go and choose your own topic. So on whatever you want to write and do the manual one. After you do the manual one, you put it in, you copy the items in the manual one, but don't copy the objective, just copy the idea you want to have in your mind and give it to the AI. The AI will also generate its own objectives and then the questionnaire for you. Then compare what you did yourself and you can learn from it. Then submit both the AI generated one, which you guys I would say the AI mediated one. I don't want to generate it because you are the one who told it what to do. You give it instructions and stuff. The AI mediated one, and then your one that you wrote with your own mind in your head. And then that's how we'll be learning. We want to be comparing both lessons throughout the study. Okay. Is that okay? Dennis, your question now. Please, question. Dennis, don't leave your hand up. You could have typed the thing for us. You could have typed your question for us. It's all keep your hand. Yeah, yes, go ahead.
Please, the one we are supposed to write by ourselves, are we supposed to add the questionnaire to it?
No. That one, you're not doing questionnaire with your hand. You do it in the exam hall, but you don't do it here. For now, not now. After the questionnaire, because Ni has not taught you, I couldn't tell you to demonstrate it for yourself. But I want you to use the computer to generate it. Next week, Ni will take your own questionnaire, and then we'll all be going through what Ni will teach us, and we'll see what the gaps in your questionnaire as compared to his own. So Ni Martinez, you should do a quantitative version of your work before you show us a qualitative version. I hope, because this is a survey, quantitative one. Please, okay. Questionnaire is for quantitative. Interview guide is for qualitative. Know the two differences. The MPhil students, someone says you have to go and watch the videos because the MBA said they have learned about research methods already. So go and watch the videos on the research methods. I showed you where to go and watch on research methods, and you can watch chapter 6, the one on how to collect data and everything. The video will teach you some of these things. They have done the class already. Somebody else taught them. But you have not done it. So I advise you that start watching the videos I showed you the link earlier. Richard Watkins Studios. Look for any of the video Richard Midis or the one for this class, and then just watch it stuff. But class, have you seen how interesting it is? The AI even picked the bank, some of them for us, but it's not exhaustive. So when you generate with the AI, don't edit it, just add your index number and your name and everything to it. Format it nicely, but don't change the content. Because he wants to show you where the AI didn't add and will show you the differences. Otherwise, what will happen is you all be generating things with AI, but you don't know that the AI has weaknesses. So we want to be able to show you the things you can do with the AI and what the AI can help. Is that okay now? So today we have done a lot of things. We have been able to understand what the theory is. Be able to understand how to be able to pick one theory, go through it, write it about it, and then explain it in our work and turn it to a conceptual framework. Now I've come to add, how do you turn that conceptual framework, turn the conceptual framework or objectives into a questionnaire? And I've shown it to you here. Now, the reason why this one was easy was that, look at it. My query was just mentioning the name of the theory, and the thing could do it because the name of the theory is known. What if you are the one who was doing it yourself? Then you have to state the factors and give a context of certain the factors that you have, the meaning of the factors, so that the AI can understand it. Otherwise, it will not know the meaning, how you are going to use the factors. But I like the way it has done it. It has even covered the college the person belongs to. Because I said University of Ghana. Yeah. It's very, very interesting. You are in trouble. The AI knows University of Ghana in and out. Without telling it. Okay. But thank you very, very much. Isaac, we have delivered. It's 1:30 exactly. So we will pause here. Please. Can we say thank you?
No problem.
All right, bro.
Can we say thank you to Dr. Bano and Dr. Zelda for us?
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
I have a question.
Oh, go ahead. Dennis, go
Yes,
ahead.
I wanted to ask about the assignment.
Yes.
If
We are typing the assignment is being typed out. We put on the class platform so you can see it very well.
Okay,
What
okay.
part of it do? Okay. What aspect do you want clarity? When you are supposed to submit. Okay, so for the written one and the printed one, you submit it by Friday before 12 p.m. at the department office. There will be a box there, you put it inside. Zelda will call Charles and tell Charles to make a box ready. You come and you put it inside. But make sure that you staple it together, both the one you wrote with your hand and the one you printed, so that you see as one. In fact, you can bind it. It's better. Better you bind it as one set. Or you staple it as one set. Mhm. I hope you understand me. Then you email the same content to the email addresses that we are giving to you. That's Manuel's address and Zelda's address. Later, we'll give you a class. We are now loading you on Sakai. That's why I'm not saying go and upload it in Sakai. Sakai is the e-learning platform but your names have not been uploaded there yet. I don't think so. So I checked it yesterday. I didn't see your class. So if you see a class there, then maybe they have done it this morning. But I don't think your class. Some of you, I don't even think you know your login details for Sakai. Okay. Thank you very, very much.
All right,
So
Prof,
every day we would learn how to be able to use a theory, apply the theory, and then turn it into a questionnaire. Every day we learn it. So that we are doing the theory and method. Theory and method. Theory and method. It doesn't mean that that's all. There's also something called sampling. How to select the people. Interview. Okay. Now we'll do that later. Okay. Thank you very, very much. Any other question? Albert, you have a question? Hafiz,
No, please. No, please. Thank you.
Okay, if you don't have a question, then thank you very much. It's been exciting the first day of our sessions. Okay. I hope you have learned.
Prof.
Yes, please.
Prof, when are you getting the recorded session?
That's a very good question. Today.
All right.
I know that's a very good question. Thank you very much. Bye-bye. Nee, please close them.
All right, please. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, I think Dr. Nivano is not here, so we can bring the lecture to a close and then see you next time. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Okay, that's fine.